these guys up, I'm just going to put a couple screws in. Tight. We've got a little mark about 1 inch from the top here, and I want the wire to be about right there. That'll make hanging the picture a little bit easier. So we'll wrap this around a couple times, get that nice and tight. Excess. We'll put these little rubber bumpers. Keep it off the wall, keep some air circulation in here. You don't want this sitting up against the wall because it could get damp and actually ruin the art. And we're all done. There it is. I would like to take a minute to tell you about today's sponsor, and that is DesignCrowd. DesignCrowd is a website that helps you crowdsource business cards, illustration, t-shirt design, web development, and much more from designers all over the world. DesignCrowd has over 600,000 designers to help you get the perfect custom design every time with a money-back guarantee. So here's how it works. You post a creative brief describing what you need. Within hours, you'll start receiving designs. Over the course of 3 to 10 days, you'll receive anywhere from 60 to 100 plus designs. And you can provide feedback to the designers and request revisions. You then pick your best design and approve payment to the creator. Check it. I posted a creative brief with a t-shirt idea that I had, and almost instantly I started receiving designs from all over the world. So if you need a custom graphic, website, t-shirt design, or anything that requires a designer, check out designcrowd.com/makesomething to learn more and save up to $100 when you start your next project. Again, Make Something viewers receive up to $100 off their design. Thanks, DesignCrowd. Now let's get back to these picture frames. There they are. All the wood for these picture frames came from my friends at KenCraft at kencraftcompany.com. They do sell online. If you're in the Toledo area, stop by and say hello. They're really good friends of mine. So in the description down below, I will have links to the picture frame making sled as well as the spline jigs. As woodworkers, we tend to make a lot of picture frames, and those two jigs really speed up the process. For good picture frames, you need to have two things. You need to have perfect miters, and you also need to have perfect length, and that's where that jig comes in really handy. In a future video, we're going to do some more advanced picture frames that involve layering and inlays and complicated profiles using router bits. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's a formula to figure out how much wood you need for picture frames. It's a little complicated, so here we go. It's the width of your frame times 2 plus the art width. That equals A. Then you take your frame width times 2 plus your art length, and that equals B. A plus B times 2 equals the total length of wood that you need. And then you need to add 2 more inches to that to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. So for example, if your artwork is 11 by 14 and your frame is 2 inches wide, you take your frame width times 2 plus 11, and that gives you 15. And then for the length, you take your frame width times 2 plus 14 equals 18. And then 15 plus 18 times 2 equals 66. Add another 2 inches on there for safety, and you've got a total of 68 inches. So you need a 68-inch board. I know it's complicated. I rarely ever use that formula. Usually I just eyeball it. It has gotten me in trouble in the past, and so I just wanted to throw that out there for you. There will be a link to my website that will go into detail a little bit more and have all these formulas there and some visuals to help you understand it a little bit better. So let me talk about the story behind some of these. This is Roy Underhill, and then this is Norm Abrams. I had my artist friend Jim Ether paint these for me a while back. He's an amazing artist. He sells a lot of his art on Etsy, and he does custom portraits just for you, custom artwork, and it's really, really affordable. So I'll have a link to Jim's Etsy page down below. If you recall the Wiener Dog art that we made over on the laser cutter about a year ago, he was involved in that project. I really, really love his style. So these two guys of convenience stores here in town, I think back in the 50s. And Then we also found out that he had his own labeled olive oil. And then we happened to find this artwork. It's a painting of that olive oil label online at a bookstore in New York. I'm assuming this was for an ad or this was a mock-up. And so we purchased this and we framed it, and it's gonna hang in our kitchen. It's crazy that we found this artwork from the guy that built this house. All right, folks, that wraps it up. I will see all of your beautiful faces next week when we tackle another woodbreaking project. As always, be safe, have fun, stay passionate, and take something. That's a good day. Welcome to Make Something with me, David Picciuto, and today we're going to talk about the tools in my shop, and we're going to talk about what I like and what I don't like about each one. This is my table saw. This is the SawStop 1.75 horsepower professional saw. It has flesh sensing technology, so if you run your finger into it, a brake comes up, slams up on the blade, stops instantly, and pulls it underneath the table, all happening within a fraction of a second. What I like about the table saw is it's extremely well built, extremely sturdy. You can tell it's going to last me a lifetime. It's also got the flesh sensing technology. Those two things alone make this saw superior, in my mind, to other saws. And what I don't like about the table saw is when I change from a 10-inch blade to an 8-inch dado blade, I also have to change the brake. Not a big deal. Love the saw, highly, highly recommended. 3 blades that I use in my table saw. The one I use the very most is the Forest Woodworker 2 thin curved blade. This is a combination blade for cross cuts and rips. It is thinner than your normal blade, which means there's less waste and it requires less power to plow through some heavy wood. It doesn't leave a flat bottom when you're not cutting all the way through. And for flat bottoms, I use this Forest Woodworker 2 1/8 inch curve fetch, the normal size curve, flat bottom for grooves and finger joints. 99% of the time I'm using this guy. When I need dados, I have the 8-inch Freud dado set. Rockler wall mounted dust collector. I have it on the floor. It's made for the wall, but I really like the Rockler dust collectors because they're fairly quiet compared to most. So all the dust is collected in the bag here, and this is the only machine that this dust collector is hooked up to. Kind of expensive, but it has a cool feature. It has a bunch of stops for the different angles you want in there. It also has one of these guys. This guy slips on here, and it's a little stop on there. What I don't like about this, a lot of times the boards are wider than this area right here, so I have to come back, and then there's this you know what I'm saying? I made one of these. I'm going to make another one someday on camera because people ask about it all the time. It has this Kreg stop block system here, which is great for repeatable cuts. And all this is MDF with a backing board here, and on the bottom, it's got the runners on there. This can eliminate the need of a miter saw. And for a long time, I didn't even have a miter saw because I had a crosscut sled. This is my Wixie digital angle gauge. This is how I set the angle on my table saw blade. Set it up against the blade. Now I will have perfect 70.7 degree angle cuts. One of my favorite accessories for the table saw is the micro jig grippers. They make the table saw so much safer. They keep your hands away from the blade. You see them in almost every single project that I do. Picture frames, you really need a miter sled. I have a dedicated video on making this jig. This is my jointing sled for the table saw. Since I no longer have a jointer, this thing comes in very handy for getting me a nice straight edge on boards. Tapering jig from Micro Jig, that's a good one to have. My Incra iBox box joint jig, this is what I use for all the finger joints that you see in my boxes. This is another one of my favorite jigs. This is my spline joint jig. It is made to go over my table saw fence, but I've upgraded my fence since then, so this one no longer fits. So I use it to butt it up against my fence, and then I highly suggest you check out the video on the making of this spline joint jig. Table saw outfeed table. This is a must for your table saw to support larger pieces. I have a video on the making of this table saw outfeed table. It has the grooves here. There's all kinds of junk. Oh, nope. all kinds of stuff in the drawer there. Every table saw needs an Elvis. Here's my Bench Dog router table. What I like about it is it's awesome. The fence is adjustable, and it's got dust collection built into it. What I don't like about it is the table is kind of small, and I probably could have made my own for far less money. Inside we got the Porter Cable router. All my bits are just kind of thrown about. I know that's going to make some people cringe. I did upgrade the table with this Incra router lift. This thing is a lifesaver. It makes things so much easier. I can use this to lift and lower the bits instead of doing it manually, which is a pain in the ass. Probably the router that I use most is this DeWalt 611 because it's smaller, it's easier to handle. When I need the bigger 1/4 inch bits is this Porter Cable router, which is the same router that's inside there. You know what they say, you can never have enough woodworkers saying you can never have enough clamps. And here are mine. Are my Harbor Freight clamps the ones that I use the most because I do mostly smaller projects. These are like $3 or $4 a piece. My hand screw clamps, really super expensive Bessey clamps, and I'm not a big fan of them. Maybe I've ruined them because I've got glue on them, but they're really hard to use, they stick, and I don't know, I get very frustrated with them. I actually prefer the aluminum bar clamps right here. These come from Rockler. Unfortunately, they're really expensive. Underneath my super sharp chisels.
Which is why you always send me.
Yes. Hey, Eric, go get those clamps underneath the chisels. Up next is my bench. I get a lot of questions about my bench. It's got a Veritas vise in the front here. You probably don't even need the Veritas brand. I would assume that the cheaper brands are just fine. One of these days, I'm going to rebuild this bench, either as a miniature version to show how it's done, or I'm going to give this away and make myself a new bench. This is kind of a mess. I do have a couple of hand planes here, the Wood River brand hand planes. I do have a video on making this particular block plane. I use this all the time. Check that motherfucker out. Some more wooden planes. This is one that I made that I never used because it sucks really bad. Oh, card scraper. You need a card scraper. This is how we do it. This is how I sharpen all my blades using this WorkSharp 3000. I have a video on how this guy works. I don't use hand planes very often, so I just sharpen everything like once a year, and I don't have to learn how to actually sharpen a blade. What I like about this bench is it's super heavy, it's beefy, it's really, really thick top. Great surface to work on. It's very large. It's got the vise in there. It's got the dog holes for my stops and my hold fast. What I don't like about this bench, not a thing. I built this thing perfect. This is my DeWalt planer. I just have a dust bag on the back here, and that's great for now, but what I find is dust collects on the bag, and when you turn it on, the dust goes everywhere. So I'm gonna build some sort of dust collection inside this stand someday. That'll be a project. What I like about this thing, it's small and portable. What I don't like about it is that I wish it was a little bit bigger. I wish it was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller, but hey, it is what it is. I don't have a space for a bigger planer. Sometimes the gripper rollers they slip and don't pull the wood all the way through. I've had pieces of wood get stuck there recently. I don't know what's going on down there, but girl, you gotta fix that. Here's my Grizzly G055X bandsaw. What I like about it is it works fine. What I don't like about it is tensioning the blade sucks on this thing. It feels like I'm gonna break my wrist every time, even at low tensions. I don't know, maybe something's wrong back there. So I pretty much gave up on tensioning blades. I just throw a blade on there and then tighten it up and then cut. I don't care about tensioning. One of my favorite things to use on the bandsaw are these Micro Jig gripper blocks. They have a nice flat bottom. And it's great for holding pieces and running it through the bandsaw, keeping your fingers away. I use 2 blades in my bandsaw, the 3/16 inch 4 TPI skip tooth blade from Highland Woodworking, and that takes care of 99% of my cuts. And every once in a while, I'll throw in a 1/2 inch resaw blade also from Highland Woodworking. This is the dust collection I have for my bandsaw and my drum sander. I have it inside this box here, and I have these little This is the wall mount sparkler dust collector. It's made to be hung up on the wall, but I have it in this box here. What I like about this is it's so much quieter than most dust collection systems, and that's why I have 2 of them in the shop. This video is not sponsored. Nobody is sponsoring this video. These are my opinions. I really do like the dust collection system. This is my tool board. This is all the Forstner bits that I use, the speed square, scissors. If you're getting into woodworking, you're gonna need some combination squares. I suggest a 12-inch and a 6-inch. Round wooden mallets, hammer, scissors, rubber mallet, shit chisels, wood files, the good chisels, screwdrivers. Do not get these Stanley screwdrivers for whatever reason. The tips on there don't grip the screws. They're at the weird shape. I don't know why. I gotta get new screwdrivers. Flush trim saw, I use this all the time. It's like 12 bucks on Amazon. Coping saw, dovetail saw, veneer saw, saw. I love making signs. Rubber mallet for my buddy Ty. Some drill bits, all the clamps that we talked about earlier. Kyle Toth, naked Kyle Toth cutting on the bandsaw calendar. You definitely need that. The horseshoe that my dad found in his yard many years ago, and a pencil sharpener. That's my tool board. Let's move on. Yeah, my Jimmy DiResta ice pick. Check this out. Every shop needs an ice pick. You know why? A sanding station. We made a video on making this. I have the Festool Random Orbit Sander, the ETSEC 150/3 EQ Festool. That's a horrible product name. What are you thinking? Probably the most expensive orbital sander that you can get. Is it worth the money? That depends. I've had a couple sanders before. I've had a Skill Random Orbit sander, and that thing vibrated so much I hated using it. Then I upgraded to the Bosch sander, and that thing worked great. The dust collection on that was fantastic. And then I wanted something a little bit bigger so I could sand a little bit faster, and then upgraded to the Festool. The dust collection on this is phenomenal. If you're into dust collection, then the money might be worth it. And that runs down into my Festool dust extractor, basically a glorified shop vac. Why do I like this more than a regular shop vac? Because it is a lot quieter and it has variable speed. Sometimes you want a lot of suck, sometimes you want a little suck. You can adjust the suck. Hashtag. Another super cool feature about the Festool dust extractor is it has auto. So you can plug in your tool into here, and then when you turn the tool on, this comes on automatically. Adjust the suck. This is my Orbit sander from Harbor Freight. This is super cheap and inexpensive. I use this all the time. What I like about it is super cheap and inexpensive. What I don't like about it is I wish it was a little bit... Runs like a horse. It is my Grizzly little belt sander. I rarely use this, but when it's needed, it comes in handy. You know what? I rarely use it.
I've never seen this until just now.
For a long time, I didn't even have a miter saw in the shop because I had the crosscut sled. And then I realized for certain projects, for speed purposes, I wanted 2 setups, one for ripping and one for cross-cutting. So I went ahead and got me what was supposed That's what I love about this. You can also do dados with this miter saw. That's a pretty killer feature which most don't do. You can set the height of the blade. What I like about it is it's extremely well built and the dust collection is phenomenal. What I don't like about it is it's expensive. It is what it is. I'm going to build out a whole extension wing and stop block system, and I have yet to do that. That would make this so much more useful, and I'm going to wait until we move into the new shop. This is one of the first tools I ever bought. It runs flawlessly. It's just like the day that I got it from Harbor Freight. A lot of people give the Harbor Freight the thumbs down. No, this thing is fantastic. It's been running for many years. I did bend the table here. A piece got caught in there and shit happened. So I'm going to make a new table for it someday. What I like about it, it's cheap and it works just as expected. What I don't like about it is I screwed up the table. This is my oldest drill. This is the Black & Decker. I use this more than anything. I even use it more than the super expensive Festool drill, which I got a lot of shit for painting the green red. But that's cool. I like pissing people off. Is it worth the price? I'm a fan of Festool, but I don't think that the drill is worth the price. I think you're better off going with something else. I use the Black & Decker the most. I prefer the Black & Decker over the Festool drill. It's nice and heavy, it's got a good weight to it. A lot of people don't like jigsaws because it gives you a crappy cut. The key to getting a good cut with a jigsaw is all in the blade. Glue gun, belt sander, Dremel, and iron. There's a Festool domino in here. Quick and dirty joinery in this Festool domino is fantastic. Down below we got the air compressor. We just use that to blow dust from one area to another area. Jet 1020 plus drum sander. It's got an infeed bed and then a drum sander. It saves me so much time, especially doing these projects where I'm trying to turn them out as fast as I can to get the video out. This thing is a lifesaver. It is not necessary for projects, but it does make things a lot easier. What I like about this is it saves me tons of time. What I don't like about it is the drum will lose its levelness and I'll have to recalibrate it every once in a while. This is the absolute worst place to put the dust port because it hangs down and gets in the way of the piece. And usually I have a string or something holding this up there. Here's my Jet drill press. I used to have one of those little tabletop skill drill presses that worked fine, but then I needed something with more travel, and this guy definitely has more travel. What I like about this drill press is the table is nice and big and flat and very adjustable. It can go all the way down to the bottom and all the way back up. What I don't like about this drill press, when it comes to tightening, this key slips all the time in the teeth. And so eventually I want to replace this chuck with a keyless chuck. There's got to be a better way to do this stop system, because when I want to move these stops down, I gotta do this. I gotta take out a half hour of my day to move these things 2 inches. While we're on the Jet train, this is my Jet lathe. This guy is the VR, what is this guy? Eric, you know what this is? It's the VR something or other. There'd be a link down in the shits. So this lathe works great. This is the only lathe I've ever owned, so I have nothing to compare it to, but it's got variable speed. Shows the output down in here. Love that. It's got forward and reverse. What I like about it is it's everything that I wanted in a lathe. What I don't like about it is I wish it was a little bit bigger, but that's not Jet's problem. That's me getting the wrong lathe. I can't do a baseball bat on here, and I can't do a big bowl. I kind of wish this thing swung out to do bigger things, but that's all on me. Is my new home sewing machine. This is a sewing machine that Eric and I use in nearly every single one of our projects. It's a beast. It was built in 1959 and works fantastic every single time I turn it on. Fun fact, I've never turned it on. This is my Inventables X-Carve CNC. This is a new one. It's got this nice enclosure here. It's nice and clean compared to the previous version. It's a little bit more rigid. It allows me to design and draw on the computer, which is one of my passions, and this machine allows me to output some of those ideas from my brain into the real world. On the subject of digital fabrication, this is my pre-release model of the new Glowforge laser cutter. I'm a big fan of this machine. It has cameras built into it, so you can see your layouts on the computer interface. Awesome technology in there, and right now I just have this one venting out the window. This is just a little, everything is just thrown here on the cement floor. Somebody told me a long time ago that you're not supposed to pile wood on a cement floor because of moisture and blah, 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 blah. Eric, what kind of wood is this?
That's striped walnut.
What kind of wood is this?
Brown cherry.
And what kind of wood is this?
That's
as you can see, Eric, my cameraman, is an expert. This is my music room. You're gonna see this channel progress into a lot more art and music-based stuff, and I want to integrate all three of those things. And I don't know how that's going to work, but it's something that I want to do in the future. I want my videos to be super creative and fun, and I do have a video that talks all about this music room and some of the instruments and microphones that I use, and it is on my second channel. Yes, I have a lot of tools. I worked very hard to get to this point. The great thing about woodworking and art and creating and making in general is that there's more than one way to do something. If you don't have a table saw, you can use a circular saw. If you don't have a bandsaw, you could use a jigsaw. You don't have a laser cutter, you're screwed. Sometimes the goal is the end piece. And it doesn't matter what tools that you have. What does matter is getting to that goal and doing it in a way that's satisfying to you. Do you need all these expensive tools? No. Sometimes I will upgrade my tools so I can work faster, because of the type of woodworking I do, I need to output as fast as I can so I can move on to the next video, because this is what I do for a living. I'm not a woodworker for a living, I make videos for a living. Should I get this tool or this tool? And the answer to that is, I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's budget is different. What you want to make is different than what I want to make. I do a lot of small projects, so I buy tools that help me output those small projects faster. Most of the tools I have nothing to compare to, so I can't say that this brand is better than this brand. I really want to emphasize that it's not the tools that makes you a good woodworker. It's being a good woodworker that makes you a good woodworker. So use what you have. That is my shop. I tried to give you a very honest opinion of what I like and what I don't like. My name is David Picciuto. This is my channel, Make Something. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, because we try to do new project videos once or twice a week. And as always, be safe, have fun, stay passionate, and make something. Welcome to Make Something with me, David Picciuto, and today I'm going to show you how to make this kick-ass crosscut sled for your table saw. Check it! Today we're going to remake my crosscut sled. We are at my favorite hardwood dealer, KenCraft, where we're going to go pick up some supplies. Get some of the good plywood for this, because it'll be nice and flat and have some nice core. The good plywood has a lot more plies in there, and this stuff is a lot higher quality than what you get at like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. This one has this laminate on here, and I'm thinking about getting this just because it looks cool and it's nice and slick. I think this will do. So now we need some straight grain wood to use for the runners, and I'm just going to get a small piece of red oak here. We're going to take this piece of red oak and we're going to make some runners in here that's going to fit into the miter sled. You want nice straight grain so it doesn't get all wonky on you in the future. This is the part in the plans that's going to be different for everybody. You want it to fit into your slots on your table saw. Gonna measure the miter slots here, and you want to cut too big, and we'll sneak up onto the cut for the perfect fit. Alright, so it doesn't fit in there quite yet, so we'll nudge the fence over. Perfect. Next we're going to grab the height of this, so I'm going to throw that in the slot. Just draw a little pencil line. We want to cut just below the line because we don't want this sitting above the surface. We want it to sit a little bit below. There are our two runners. They fit in there perfect. A little tight, but that's okay. We'll wax it up. So now it is time to attach these runners to the sled. As you can see, they sit below the surface, and we want to temporarily raise it above the surface for attaching. So I'm going to throw some pennies in there. Oh, that's Canadian. Get rid of that. That's worthless. And now it's just above the surface. Set my piece of plywood on here. I'm buttoning it up against the fence here, just to kind of square it up. This doesn't have to be perfectly square just yet. The fence gets us in the right direction, in the ballpark. We'll square everything up in a later step, but this just gets me to where I want to be. One thing I want to point out is I'm using this fancy laminated piece of plywood, and it's nice and slippery, so this will slide on the table very well. You could use any plywood or MDF as long as it's nice and flat. And to help with the sliding on the table, you can always wax the plywood. You don't need the super fancy piece like me, but this is a table saw sled I'm going to use for many years. I want it to look nice. Is it okay if we just have some fun and have a nice looking table saw sled? Seriously. The thing I want to point out is the blade is not going to be right in the center. It's going to be a little bit longer on this side than this side. And that's because this is a personal preference. I want it to line up with the edge of my table saw table. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on these runners here. They will also be screwed in. Butt it up against the fence. Drop it in place. That is why we use pennies to lift up the runners, so this sits on there nice and good. We'll just put a couple weights on there. I do. Alright, so I have a piece of plywood here, and it's time to cut the back rail, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces and glue them together. So I have my 2 pieces here, and you can just go ahead and glue them up together like this, but I'm going to be using the Kreg Track and Stop system, not sponsored. And the way this system works, these pieces need to be staggered a little bit, so I need to cut one shorter than the other. If you're using the Kreg Track and Stop system, you need to do this. If you're not, you can just glue up your pieces together like this. Now we have our 2 pieces for the back fence. We're going to glue them together, and the reason you wanted to glue them together is because there's a little bit of flex in the plywood, and if you glue 2 together, that removes that flex. But the problem is if you just glue it and clamp it like this, as it dries, it still might banana on you. So the trick is to clamp it down to a flat surface, like your table saw table. So I can put some glue on there and then clamp this down. I don't want to move my outfeed table out of the way, so I'm going to use this metal bar over here and clamp it right to this. If you have a super flat workbench, you can also use that. My workbench is not perfectly flat, but I did check this piece of metal here. This is a table saw rail. I'm going to clamp it right to there, and it should dry nice and flat and straight. Cool, we'll let that dry for a couple hours. So now we're going to transfer the position of these runners to the other side so we can screw it in from the top, because the glue alone won't be strong enough, especially with this laminate here. Just getting these holes started. I got a flag on my drill bit here so I don't go too deep. The screw below the surface, so we need to do a little countersink.
With Magic, I had a knack for it. That one's easy. That one's easy.
It's impressive.
Thank you.
Medway, and Pay Safeguard.
Vexalim, I.
Hello? How are you? There's one thing I've been missing.
They were given the choice of 7 and they take it to Inferno, and that didn't stop FaZe from flexing. I do have Pimp and Lurpus alongside myself, Machine, to talk about this one, and my god, what a start to our second semi-final. FaZe Clan have come out of the gates at a sprint. Liquid couldn't maintain that pace, Jacob. I mean, it was 2-5.
Vexalim, Cabinet Maker here tuning in.
Nice to meet you. I'm just making picture frames today. I can give you a show. What am I at?
World-class player he is when he gets inside the zone. One interesting statistic I actually found in this game is the fact that Liquid had more first kills than FaZe. We're standing here after a game where FaZe is winning 16-7, like
making picture frames.
Yet the only player for more first kills than first death is Taco. The other 4 guys actually had a lot of first.
Need to make 6 of these.
It's just another, cement into how strong these are and the individual strengths of the FaZe players when they get into situations, even 4 versus 5.
No, absolutely. Everyone had their moments. You saw, of course, even now you got Carrigan with a triple.
Oh, made a mess.
Nico did happen though. I mean, we're just going to be watching a highlight reel of Nico, I imagine, for the next couple of minutes. Because he was pushing down middle, he was holding balcony, he was clutching at one point, he was winning a full eco as was FaZe. I mean, Tommy, that round is one that I know sticks out to you.
That's the round that really turned the entire game around. Up until then, it looked like Liquid had full control of the game. They were up 2, they had all the money in the world. Looked like they were going to be able to cruise to something like a 10-5, maybe even 11-4 half. That would have been great. That would have set them up to have a okay CT side and then close out the map, go up 1-0, and then hope to close it out on overpressure.
Vexalim, what are the frames for? Personal use?
Gifts to friends. My friend has 6 pieces of art that he bought. All of them which are the same. But he couldn't find frames that were 13 by 13. So I offered to help him out with that. Ugh. How am I gonna do this?
Who's hanging out with the crowd.
Thank you very much. That hurt really bad. All right, thank you. We got that out of the way. Either way, that's right. I'm in the Red Bull best seats in the house. I got my friends here in Sydney and Justin, and they are somewhat local, but not even close to that. In fact, I'm going to have to ask you guys right away, what are we naming this chicken?
Okay, where's the double-sided tape?
So you're saying Guardian looks like a chicken? Yep. Okay, what do you got for me, man?
Vexalim, what do you do for a living?
I am a software engineer. I do programming for a living.
Let's talk about your experience here. Just had to give that to you. I felt like it was appropriate. Now,
whoa, I'm okay.
It's gonna be a face stomp.
Where are my scissors? The scissors are actually where they're supposed to be.
What do you got, Justin?
I want to say Liquid. I want to say Liquid's gonna win this one, but FaZe is playing really well, so we'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens, and the only way these two are gonna be seeing it is from right here at the Red Bull best seats in the house. And in fact, if you're at home right now, let's crack a cold one open, boys. Let's do it. Send it back to the desk with Alex.
Fantastic. He knows how to keep them relaxed as our Trace.
I got a question for you guys. Yeah? Who do you think is more confident? The young gentleman with the Cloud9 jersey or Liquid themselves?
Okay, that's good. Now let's start actually cutting stuff.
Stepping onto that stage in the first place, I said to Tommy as we walked back, Jacob, that they didn't look like a team that were ready to
need this to be cut like
a team that were a little shaken, and I think their gameplay displayed the same.
Just to follow up on your point about Liquid falling flat, I think they showcase one of the biggest problems this Liquid lineup has, and that's the lack of game that actually is a tested and proven game. I don't want to point any fingers. Nitro is doing well in some areas of the game, but when it comes down to situations where the pre-plan is like...
Now I actually just a cut.
That's probably pre-planned. They know what they're going to do the first buy round. They know what they're going to do the first EQ.
That's what I wanted.
Vexalim, maybe I should stream from my shop someday, but I feel weird AFLOL.
Streaming is a really complicated thing, because like, you're effectively trying to be an entertainer. Or if you're just doing it for fun, that's all you need as well. I'm just personally interested in, let me take off the mask. I'm personally just interested in figuring out how to do a good, the software, the technology behind streaming. You know, I have a really cool thing I can show you.
One thing that I would just like to see more is I don't think Liquid used any timeouts during that game, and it seemed like when you get those big swing rounds going against you, that would be the right time where you could, you know, take a breather, think things through, and you know, there's something to be said for the other side, which is
ready. I have these special glasses, right?
You don't take a timeout, you hope that the players figure it out, but they don't.
Yes, son. I have first-person glasses.
Both proven and respected coach standing behind you, can only talk during those timeouts. When you concede a round like that,
I have to put the mask on first.
there's no sense to not. You know, exactly, get the tee out and give Zeus his 60 seconds. Wouldn't you say, Jacob? I mean, that is perhaps a missed opportunity on that one.
Yeah, there you go. So I have goggles that are kind of cool.
Vexalim, that's dope, haha. I wouldn't want to be on camera, but if it's my view, that would be more doable.
Yeah. This was a bit of a mess to figure out, though. I would not recommend this necessarily. Okay. Man, I'm like hacking the crap out of this. I need a longer piece of backing cord. Let's see.
From the critics outside to say you should have done this, you should have done that, but he's in fact the only one within the team.
Yeah, they recently conceded
hello. Right.
Vexalim, that's a deep garage dab.
Yeah, this was one of the nice parts about the house, is that it has a very large garage. Let's try this with a larger piece of wood. This is longer, right? Okay, definitely longer.
Fortunately for Team Liquid, this not being their map means they get CT to start things off.
Vexalim, your shoe is untied.
Thank you, I should tie that. It's crazy what the first person view does for that, doesn't it? You have to help me with my my safety. Okay. So I have this board now. So I specifically wanted to measure the length of this so that I can cut it consistently every time. Cancel. Let me unplug this just for safety's sake. Jesus. Stick on that.
pistol in this
there.
series. Does so by getting Kerrigan. I take that back. They won the first on Inferno as well, so similar starts perhaps for ours.
Well, they didn't find the same success they did in Inferno, but they are 5-2 up on the T side. It's a great pistol from them. Taco opens things up towards the B-bomb
Okay,
side.
let's see if that cuts the correct length. All of that was so I can get this guy. Oh no, fuck me. No, this is fine. Everything is fine. Table saw still unplugged. Trying to get this thing. Stay here. Fuck me. This may not be working as well as I thought it would.
Window and the AK for Nick. Nico, excuse me, gets underneath. There's still try and boost that up. So Elijah's position, if he plays it right, could be perfect.
Okay, this is my last attempt.
Vexalim, everything is fine. Boy, have I said that before many times. LMAO.
Exactly. I need to actually. This thing does support putting like kind of attachments onto this. I just need to like invest in making stuff like this. The whole point of this is so that I can put this up here, line it up there, and then hopefully be able to do this. Oh, it's unplugged because I'm too smart. Let's try plugging this in and see what happens.
Toward the site. Maybe they could have baited himself back in, but thinks better of it. He's pushing all the way through MP9. We'll see if that amounts to anything.
So,
really
again,
down to how effective the
line this bad boy up.
Because if Nav goes down, it's two guns. The AK still for Nico. They know he's there. Have to trade it. Taco needs to support.
Get some pressure.
Nico gets
Okay, let's check this. Hey, look at that. Beautiful.
Vexalim, what other stuff have you made?
Let's see. Workbench. I can show some pictures. Give me a sec.
All from the CT side, but same story for FaZe as well. 4 AKs and most of their utility as they head towards middle. Looks more like a default setup with Nico in the air round.
I have to log into stuff.
Not all off sticking together. You can see guarding Kerrigan, making sure there's no mid-aggression. We've got Olaf and Rain working together through the
This may or may not work.
Watching for flanks on the A side of the map.
Man.
Smoke goes out toward mid-window. Standard
There's
procedure.
a lot of pictures here.
Elige actually gets
None of them are
the top of connector. So bottom connector already covered, so no one could contest toward mid. Smoke down so they can push up, and a further at the top of connector means they really can establish themselves. FaZe, and we know how good they are in Mirage, let's be honest. No surprise to see Nico. He used to be a mid player way back, but ever since the last sort of year and a half, he's been so good at working this position, rocking out from power. So no surprise as they take mid to see him there already.
Less than a minute now. Nico is in position as they smoke up towards jungle. It's going to be Elijah with the first frag. Great timing to take down Guardian. Going to need a lot more than that, though. Rain will take heavy damage as well. Jinx up once more. It's up to Nico to try and find the headshots, but they're peeking so effectively here. Working together. Liquid.
I made this kind of footstool here. I made this kind of 2x4 table. It's for outdoor use. Made a stool, like a really. I made a stool. I made this built-in to the house. That was one of my best projects so far. And this, which I did with fancy 2 mortises. Look at that. Beautiful.
Should be 4-0 here, but I say that with bated breath.
Look at Guardian.
Okay.
Swallowed it.
After this,
That's at least a kill for the pistols, but
I have to.
pulls it back immediately. And even though there's no smoke sandwich
game really
Oh,
begins.
this is looking real good.
Began on Inferno as well, to be fair.
And it's Team Liquid down to this to really dig their heels in now and not give anything away. It's Twist on the AWP, not Nitro for now at least. So we're into round number 5.
It was 1 and 6.
1 and 6 before he came to life, so just because he has a slow start doesn't mean it'll be a slow game. Nades a rain.
Let's check the fit.
Liquid are looking much more poised here after losing the first map. Great start.
Here it is.
Not giving anything away, not presenting any sort of aggression just yet. As Twist open things up, great shot by him. That's towards the A ramp and Nafly.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
The boost towards short, but Olaf must out.
I needed to do this like an hour ago.
4 versus 3.
Make this kind of backwood with the measurement at the end.
Bombs in tow. There's a chance they can still get a plant. This round's not done by any means. Unfortunately, Bomb has to sit back a little bit longer due to the flames between them. Spotted by Elige, great shot. That's going to put him low. That was through the edge of the wall with none other than the AUG, and already they're backing off to reconsider. 39 seconds though, backing off doesn't really yield much.
Drop in another flashbang as well, just trying to hold them off. They might as well save now. FaZe not worth just jumping out and losing both the weapons they have. They'll still have maximum loss bonus, especially if they keep these two. They'll have a nice for the next round as Elige looks to go hunting here. He'll be punished for it, not the worst. He still has plenty of cash. He was worth a little probe towards the B side of the map. 5-0.
Let's try that again.
Side of Mirage. Still a lot of rounds to be played here, but it... This is when you want to start thinking about pushing middle, putting the AWP in Palace, for example.
It's worth the risk because you've got a round basically
out of the
left
way.
over in the bank, and you can break them. So do something that can get in their face and give them no chance in the round at all. Nitro's at least they get information from this. No one's crossed that. Good find as well from Nitro. Olaf did not expect it at all. And the A ramp certainly was a problem. Twist is ready for it. Twist knew that they were going to be there. Expecting the fight. He takes 2. Rain and Kerrigan go down as Guardian has to slow things, but he can't. Twist comes alive yet again. When they're at the ready, they certainly can take the fight to FaZe, as it looks like this could go 6-0 with no bomb and no bomb plant either on the max loss bonus.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Single.
Okay.
That's kind of insane.
Ow.
A team like FaZe as well. And yes, perfect positioning there from Nitro. You could see he was ready for that first frag. And a nice little angle for it. Olaf Meister just walks into his crosshair. And at that point, it's all down to Twist, who gets 3. Nico left in a 5 versus 1. Almost nothing he can do with this. Even if he finds 1 kill, he'll be traded out instantly. They're closing him in from T-spawn as well. Liquid have turned up the play in the second map. They're almost guaranteed now. The 6-0
Goggles off.
running out of time and space. He'll fall back. He knows he's probably be closed in at this point.
He's smirking too. Look at him. He's like, I know they're coming this way. All right, Nitro.
Feeling it now. Some smiles on their faces. They might have lost the first map, but this is looking much better. As you mentioned, no bomb plants really at all. Just the pistols the only round it went down. So at this point, they still have to take a partial by CZ's, Tech9's, Deagles as Twist as lights them up with the M4A4. You can hear the crowd coming to life as well. Starting to believe that we could
enough.
cash. Excellent map to close it out. Both teams very well versed in it.
I don't know who I would, to be completely honest with you.
I might edge Liquid slightly there.
It does get overrun by the CZ. That means the crew picked up in an action. Nitro missing 2 shots, has to force off of this. There's no one directly in A, so this could be the bomb plant that's been missing for FaZe.
It's not like they're going to get any further bonus or loss bonus. It's maxed out already, but the bomb plant, the missing piece in the puzzle. Nitro still trying to get some information. Taco through. Dicked up, however, means he's traded out by Guardian. We still stay at 3-on-3. Krieg was not picked up by Taken Back. I thought they would have gotten that from Elige, but they didn't commit to going to jungle, which means the pistols is all they work with, but that seems to be enough. Nico takes down Naf.
Man, I hate having like angles that are slightly off.
Around to join him.
Well, it's a slightly deeper smoke, so they've got 2 orbs on the retake here as well. AK-47 available, might not have a chance to show us what it's made of though. There's still the smoke down and proving to be a bit of a nuisance.
Oh.
I wasn't sure if they spotted the bomb on the radar after that or not, but they're going to push through. Deagle takes out Twist. Nitro gets 1. He's been in this position the entire round. 2 kills already for it, but it's Nico going against him. All versus all, but the Deagle for Nico.
Salem, how are you going to finish him?
I'm gonna leave it up to the guy. He may just want to spray paint him black. I mean, these are just pine, so like, they're not the prettiest kind of frames in the world. So we may just spray paint him. I think he's gonna be okay with that. Right now, I just need to make sure I make them, and then I'm gonna talk to the dude after, see what he has to say about it. Man, this is like, one of my angles is off. Oh, no, yeah, there's just, something's just miscalibrated.
Six clean rounds in a row. Nico, the absolute nemesis of Team Liquid on Inferno. He'll find the first round. He's top ranking once again, 5 and 6 in terms of his overall stats.
Yeah, it'll have to happen.
Round number 8 here. FaZe have arrived on Mirage. Can they start building up momentum like they did before?
Okay.
Looks like the set piece off the bat. They just want to get that bomb down as quickly as possible. And we are seeing Nitro moving around now freely. As he'll get the first kill, make it a double. As he takes down Renan Olofmeister.
So you say you make cabinets?
Can they get the trade on Nitro here?
Himself away. Twist keeps him alive. He plays reverse fire, bomb down. What a way to start the round. This is a reset.
I tried making a cabinet once, and it didn't go very well, to be honest. Yeah. I made that cabinet down there. There's just a lot of gaps where I didn't want them to be. So instead of being put in the house.
Yeah, I do custom millwork for hotels and other businesses.
No way, that sounds awesome.
What a way to get back into it. Liquid with 5 players alive, that's guaranteed a round victory. And now can they
What got you into the business?
as they have the bomb? There's no chance of that going down.
Okay.
Guardian just wants the op at this point in time, not even playing. For the round, second time we'll see a T save if he's successful in doing so. Second time that he'll be involved in it as well.
That's right.
Okay.
Taco certainly hunting.
Vexalim, my dad.
Oh, very nice.
I think he has. He's looked wrong. Okay. Solid gun barrel, and exactly that. Did Tinkham still with the M4. Goddamn M4. As Nitro rotates around, Guardian's already on the move. He knows they're all going to be heading that direction.
That's exactly why Naf and Twist are using the AK, so they don't have to suffer the same fate as Taco there. Time running out. Looks like Guardian may have done enough there as he sits
Okay.
patiently in towards that underpass position. Looks like
Let's
he
do
will
this
be
blue up.
successfully taking it to the next round. He gets no extra cash, but he has got 4,100 right now. So he can drop an AK. They pretty much have to force this, I would say. They're going to get 1,900 next round, still not enough for a buy. Got a Guardian Orb, and he can drop an AK as well. Maybe 2 SMGs if they're that way inclined. Looks like Carrigan will start things off. He's gone for the P250 armor combo.
I should finish the blue before I get my hands dirty.
There it is, AK drop for Nico. The rest of them investing what they can with the pistols here. Deagles, CZs, P250s, and that saved Orb and AK. Oh, did he spot him there? Not quite, as he gets flashed. He'll get dinged in the process, but luckily through the wall.
Yeah, I was going to say, clipped the edge of the cement, so unfortunately, from the Liquid side of things, more fortunately for Guardian, considering he's got the op carried over, he only goes down to 71. Taco smokes off the apartments. Sprays it as well. That reveals his tracers. He's going to be a little careful here. Olaf does have a Deagle, so if he finds a chance headshot through that smoke, he's going to have problems. Cheeky little spray through the wooden window as well. Do love to see that. those chance kills and damage. Oh, Guardian, Elige. All that was sticking out was his elbow, and he makes it work. That looked like it was close. I think the X-ray might have been misleading.
I think you might be right.
I think he may have just been behind the wall still at CT. Nitro holds against Rain. He's got to be careful with that smoke out, though. He does go down. Nico's actually gone to get the AK, picks it up, and with Nitro trying to smoke himself off, was defenseless to Nico's position. It's now 3-on-3. This would be the second, I'll call it an eco, but I remember they didn't start with EWP, but the second lesser weapons round. Does that make sense, Henry?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
You know what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah.
That FaZe win, and it would be the only other round that they win. So Liquid's really got to tidy up in these situations. Another bomb plant for FaZe off the back of it. They've got decent post-plant position already. Naf gets access from CT. Is he really going to go that far? He wants to just check the flank. Meanwhile, Whitley does that. Look at Naf.
Vexalim, I got a couple of pics of a project if you want to see.
Hey, yeah, Lincoln.
Nico, however, still with the AK finds Taco. Is ready for Naf as well. Turns it around, but Naf slides underneath the spot. That should be the round because Olaf's revealed.
This is like...
If he goes back out now, though, on the Deagle and lines it up. Baby Twist just gets away with it.
He was hoping that one kill would be enough. It would get Twist off the bomb, but not quite. FaZe can't sink their teeth into this first half at all. Tantalizingly close there to stopping the defuse, getting stuck in, but didn't quite work out for Olaf Meister there. Very good attempt, comes right down to the final shot here.
Vexalim.
Defuse bar at the top. He hits the instant headshot there.
I'll check it out in a sec.
You can see what it means to Team Liquid. They continue their perfect
Okay.
performance here on Mirage.
This is not my favorite picture frame I made today. Doesn't seem like it's gonna glue up correctly.
He takes about half damages. They're gonna try and jump in the window after it.
It is worthy of note as Kerrigan opens up the killing as well. And look at Rain's position. He's all the way through to CT. Even if Liquid win this round, because of how close the last one was, their money's not amazing. So every kill counts, and that's why I mentioned Rain's position. If he can continue to sneak in behind them, even if he picks up a gun, it all counts.
So we're getting
Okay, with some clamping that'll be a little safer.
find a couple more kills like that. That's in the B box.
Let's check that out.
Taco, still time to work with here. Unfortunately, the bomb's all the way down at T spawn, so Guardian's gonna go.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Duel going on towards B. Rain does spot one ashore, but a minute to work with. Needs to hold on to the side while his teammate rotates through.
Very nice. Yeah, there's no way. That's incredible. That's incredible stuff. Way, way beyond anything that I can do. I can make some cuts, can make a square. Doing okay myself. What type of wood is in the on the one with the line? What kind of wood do you use for that?
Hasn't built up that much money.
It's true. There's still a chance of a phase. We can get 4 or 5 rounds on the T side. That's still enough. Liquid cannot.
Moving it back.
They cannot turn it down. They need to make sure they're winning every single round and focusing. We're getting us to a third map, which is Cash. We'll see what round number 11 has in store. It's going to be good.
Okay, one more frame to make.
Up against Twist this time.
Make this frame, and I will
A lot of the players on Liquid can pick up the AWP at any
be done
time.
for the day.
We talked about before. Looks like a bit of an overcommitment to me. Taka there alone with an angle that no utility used, but luckily there's a very powerful grenade as Kerrigan just helps himself to the B bomb site. Twist will miss the shot, and surely that's the chance for the bomb to be planted here.
Not only that, the smoke down. I was going to say it's a chance for Kerrigan to push through checkers and catch them off. A single flash if he was at the doorway, and that would have been lethal, but thankfully a gap in the smoke shuts him out of it. Naf! It's Elige that actually got the shot, just barely sneaking back as Naf gets the assist on it, but watch the lineup because Elige swings out from the left. It's now 10-1. This is a whole different story. This is Mirage, which okay, they play it, but it's not their choice, and it's against, in my opinion, one of the best Mirage teams in the world. The only reason I say one of is I think Fnatic today looked excellent.
Yes.
To be fair.
Okay.
Extremely good. A scary prospect for the future. But that's
Let's do this.
Vexalim, that was from like 6 years ago I believe, and it's a special wood the customer supplied to give it that old look. I don't recall exact details though.
That's cool though, man. And you have some really great skills there.
trying to work out what they can do. No one's really fragging too hard. Liquid
Okay, what am I doing here? I'm gonna cut
with their setups. The calculated aggression as well. Sure.
this.
Taka went down first, but look at this retake. Unbelievable scenes as Elige continues to look strong with that double kill.
Okay.
Nothing they could do. No plan found. And it is going to be the full commitment to force buy here from FaZe. They know they need a few rounds there. Can't really any grenades.
That was very embarrassing. That did not go very well. Very disappointed in that.
Likely at this point.
Gotta do this thing. I need like a.
I'll try my best.
I need a support on the side. Why am I doing it this way? An idiot. That's the whole point of this thing. You're building support.
Vexalim, I love the setup so you can listen to streams while you work. I usually just have my music on a Ryobi speaker.
Nice. So the one thing I would recommend, I'm using Bluetooth headphones. I'm gonna take them off for now. I have, these are called, come on buddy, you can do it. ISO tunes. Okay.
More healthy as he'll stay on the UMP.
There you go. ISO tunes. These apparently have, what's it called? Actual, like, ear protection certification? Like, PPE grade, hearing protection? So that you don't need to have, earmuffs over your Bluetooth headphones. So, that's how I deal with it. Yeah, I don't do... It's funny, because most of my enjoyment is not explicitly the woodworking, but getting the whole stream setup all organized. I have a microphone in my... I have a wireless microphone in my pocket. Oh geez, and the microphone's inside. You probably getting a lot of shit noise there. That's better. Okay. Now I have kind of support on the side. I won't mess this cut up nearly as hard anymore. A little bit of clamping action too, just to so I don't have to worry about so many things at once. Very nice. Oy vey. Is this blade high enough for this? What is up? I don't know if I'm just doing this cut wrong. I could swear that one was supposed to work right. Let's try that one more time. Hey, vey. Can't wait till this piece of wood is a little shorter, so I don't have to deal with such a long piece of stock. Okay, one more try. Better but not great.
Vexalim, do you not have a chop saw?
I don't. I realize, oh yeah, that would be a really useful addition here. Okay. Terrible. Getting impatient. Also, this wood is not straight. Let's see if we can see that. Oh, it's pretty straight, but the table on the side here is not quite high enough.
At least they got the bomb down with that approach before. They're actually going to rush it, I think. Straight out and
Vexalim, it never is.
Let's try that.
Vexalim, there's always a curve where it causes the most trouble.
Yeah. Okay. This is gonna be a good cut, I swear. That one actually worked. Okay, I'm just gonna tap this one again. And is that even? Okay. Nothing.
Safe space for you to reflect on your service and think about what comes next. I can't wait to hear your stories and talk to you about where you see yourself in the years to come.
That was a lot bigger of a piece of wood than I expected. That was my fault.
And your TDS going nuts over it, LOL.
That's pretty funny. Okay. 2 perfect cuts.
After getting absolutely dismantled on Inferno, Liquid have turned this around. They're on Mirage. Not there. It is 14-1 after the first half. Ghost is the proof map.
It's not perfect, but
Twisted_Rivers, I love the iVision camera.
Thank you, man.
What kind of wireless camera is it?
it is custom. I made it myself. You can even see it just duct taped. It's taped down here. I have. You can check out. Yeah.
Will receive the Molotov to push him back from the window.
I made this URL here. If I go to my own channel.
That's all from aim 8. The activity was going toward connector and window, and somehow
There
he
you
just
go.
decimates them from distance. As Kerrigan tries to go back through, no chance.
You can take a look at that. It's basically using a a hobby drone camera and connecting it to my face.
Vexalim, that intro though.
Yeah, I had a little fun with that one. Okay. Tablestone unplugged. We're done. Just gotta glue this up and I'll be closing shop. Made a mess. Ugh, look at all this wood. Let's turn this off. I was supposed to clean my car today too, but I didn't get to that.
All eyes are on you, so give them greatness with Intel Extreme Masters certified PCs and notebooks and game like the pros. When you see the unique IEM certified stickers on the outside, components with Intel Core i5.
Vexalim, that's half the stream.
Every purchase includes in-game content and supports
Yeah.
the prize pool of Intel Extreme Masters. Game like a pro. The world is watching.
Waiting for the next match?
Oh man, all this scrap wood.
Download the Turn Right app, hit the tournament icon, join the AT&T Twitch tournament, and turn right into dozens of chances to win incredible gaming gear powered by AT&T.
Just gonna. That's a bad idea. I don't want to do this. Oh shit. There we go. I should probably do the glue up before I clean. I don't know why I'm doing it in this order. Okay. Okay. I don't want to move this one too much. Just a little cleaning here.
Vexalim, do you build anything when you're not working on something specific?
I don't, and that's kind of the problem. I want to work on a specific project, otherwise I don't have any motivation. That's why I'm happy to be down here. I haven't done any woodworking for maybe 3 to 4 months. And it's the worst when you have all this equipment but you don't use it. That's just the most, that's the most depressing thing for me.
The great games you want anytime, anywhere. Nintendo Switch.
Okay. That's there. I wanted to do that. Get that out of the way. Probably use something better than a speed squirter to clean this off. Yep, same thing as last time. I really have to check the calibration of the blade. I don't know if this is actually 45 degrees. It's like 44.5 or something. It's ridiculous. I've had this, but...
Vexalim, usually just a piece of scrap wood, works great in cleaning tables.
Yeah, true. Look at that. 43 is pretty bad. Oh, you can't even see. I'm just looking at this bad boy right here. 43 does not look like 45. That looks better. Doing it off the... Hi there. This is such a shit... I don't think this is a precision table, so... It's about a half a degree off. I'll have to fix that later. Okay.
Vexalim, that's just a basic workside table. No
Yep.
saw stop, shitty fences.
Amen. Amen to that. I will not defend my choices. Well, there goes my Sharpie. Okay. Tape.
Intel Extreme Masters Chicago is brought to you in part by Intel, AT&T, Acer Predator, HyperX,
Hey. Assuming that's you. Thanks for the follow, buddy. do it.
What a turnaround from the way the first map finished, Alex.
So this is something, you know, if you want to show someone Counter-Strike, you don't show them this series because it just doesn't make sense, Jacob. We just had FaZe on Liquid's map pick look indomitable, and they go into their map that they thought about, chose, decided to play against Liquid, and then proceeds to be over in under 30 minutes.
And then Twist happened. I mean, it was amazing play by the young guy. Once again showing up on the big stage, and he had some pivotal rounds throughout the entire game. So did the entirety of Liquid. Obviously, you don't win 16-1 if there's only one player playing well. Nico tried his very, very best. And let's not forget the one round that FaZe actually got was off the back of Nico doing something insanely crazy once again. This could easily have been a 16-0. I think this is one of the most dominant wins I've ever seen Liquid win, and the way they did it and the fashion they did it in is, you know, it tells you a story that Liquid are definitely here showing up, you know, individually wise. Maybe it's the team chemistry, maybe it's like the plan they had on Inferno that didn't really work out, but individually speaking, the players both on FaZe and on Liquid are fired up.
Yeah, what a turnaround. I mean, we were critical of their mental fortitude after losing the full eco on Inferno and then proceeding to lose 8 rounds back to back. They seem to have hit the reset button pretty hard here, Tommy.
They definitely did, and obviously getting a good start to another map makes it a lot easier, right? If you lose a map first, then the next one starts, and you start losing instantly. It's a little harder to recover. They made it easy on themselves by playing so well throughout the map. We actually caught Zeus in the hallway walking to the map, and he seemed very confident. And he also said that the reason that they didn't take more timeouts in the first map was that they felt like they were doing the right thing. So his, you know, interference was not really needed.
No, absolutely not. And I think when you take a look at the scoreboard, it just paints the picture so crazily. Not a single member of FaZe had above 10 kills. No one broke double digits. This is Nico, Guardian, Olof, you know, gods of the game, unable to do anything against the CT side. I mean, the team, they got 11 rounds on the T side versus Astralis. They got 1 versus Liquid. There must be something wrong here. It can't just be Liquid playing well, Jacob.
I actually think it is. I think it's just Liquid playing well, and it's FaZe having one of those games where nothing works, and that happens in Counter-Strike as well. You know from yourself when you're playing the matchmaking games, you're having the right idea, but for some reason, you know, this dude is just instant headshot on you. In this round, you know, in this game, it happened 16 rounds, 17 rounds in a row almost. So I wouldn't put too much effort into this one. I think it's a one-off, you know, it happens once in a while, and that's just how it goes in Counter-Strike sometimes. So obviously kudos to Liquid for playing this well, but I wouldn't count FaZe out of this series at all.
Okay, and I will not. And I do think we should probably move on to Cash because there isn't much more to be said about Mirage. Liquid played incredibly well. Moving on, then let's focus on our third map. This semi-final will climax on Cash, and I want to understand exactly how we think things are going to be playing out. Do you have FaZe pinned as a team that are affected by losses like this, Tommy?
I don't think they care all too much. I mean, it's a hard reset for them mentally as they change the map. They're not a bad Cash team. It's a map that, you know, heavily favors skill. There's not a lot of tactical depth to how you play Cash. It also favors playing with multiple ops on the CT side, which allows their star players, Olof, Meister, Nico, to double and maybe even triple up together with Guardian. So,
Exalem, do you have a framing square?
This bad boy? Probably should use this. Thank you, I appreciate your help here, by the way. It's like, I have some of the tools that I need. Why am I using a Twitch square when framing square is literally by name what it's for? Okay.
Exalem, yeah, there we go.
Beautiful. Hey. I don't know if you saw, I have the other 4 of them down here drying up. 6 total today. Hopefully this guy doesn't have 9. I asked him, I didn't really ask him how many he needed.
Would you say limited map pool? I mean, they've been pushing for 7 maps. They've ended on 6, or would we not even go there?
I don't think we'd go there. I think the fact that they didn't pick Overpass for the final map tells you that they don't have 6 maps. If they felt like they had Overpass in the bag at all, they would have picked that against Liquid, considering how bad Liquid's record on Overpass is. So that tells you that they're just not comfortable on that map. I think FaZe has kind of regressed in terms of their map pool, and I think it's just a part of, you know, the whole...
Exalem, yeah, I only needed 1 WTF is all this.
Game a little bit. They definitely don't have 6 maps in the pool. I think if anything, they have 1 to 2 maps that they're very comfortable on, and a couple of maps that they don't mind playing. But you know, it's at that territory where they're no longer guaranteed to win, even against slightly weaker teams such as, well, not actually,
Okay.
right up there. Teams that they could have faced earlier in the tournament, Alex.
Okay.
You did, you certainly did. And FaZe actually looking at their recent, you know,
Move you a little bit.
is one of the few teams they've managed to best. So unless you rewind it way back to when Stade was in Marseille, it's just been
Back up there.
Blast. These are the most recent times we've got to see them on Cash, and of course, best
You know what, this
of
phase.
so that's
Keep the step out up here.
have to go off here, Jacob, of what to expect from FaZe Clan. It's pretty limited.
Yeah, I should probably vacuum in here.
One-off map, you know, Mirage is not necessarily a map right now that you count Liquid as one of the best in the world, but they just made sure that to look like one of the best teams in the world in Mirage right here, so you can never count them out, and I guess that's what FaZe have to be afraid of.
It is grand finals on the cards here, gentlemen. One map of Counter-Strike to determine who will be having a shot at the historic trophy sitting in the center of the stage in Chicago. We know as versus Fnatic. My question to you, gentlemen, is how
Okay.
who will be taking this final?
I will keep this up. I'm gonna be back down here tomorrow, so I don't wanna disassemble everything just to reassemble it all later.
So we need Twist, we need Naf, we need Elige, we need the full batch, full shebang.
We definitely do, and we saw what happens when they don't have that in the LDLC game, where things were looking a little dire early on in the first half.
And to Pimp, the same question to you. I mean, you kind of painted quite a bright picture for FaZe Clan. You're not feeling the sweat on your brow after that 16-1?
It's one of those scenarios where I did see him play against LDLC yesterday as well, and LDLC is the team with
I should probably charge that. It's been not charged for a good couple months.
So the fact that they were able to push Liquid that much on the mid gives me not so much.
Anyway, this piece still good.
Okay, so once again, feels like a broken record. FaZe's win condition is the individuals. If we have another Nico performance, that of Inferno, then we should expect to see a FaZe versus Stralis. For FaZe, to complete that though, it's all about Team Liquid's individuals. If they don't show up, then it is curtains. We're going to be keeping our eyes on Twist. A spectacular performance on one map, Nico on the other. It is just two stars clashing in the server. And as I see the players taking to their seats, that does mean only one thing. The players question, gentlemen.
I think Twist for Liquid, for sure, particularly after the watch out for Guardian. He's a great character.
Let's get into this one then, our final map of our semi-final day. Who will join Stralis in the grand finals? Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out with Henry G and Sadakist.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, there's certainly players that have been instrumental in this series. There are others we expect more from. When struggling, Guardian hasn't had the most influence. That is something like Cash, all potential, is going to have to
Do some regular maintenance of the place, of the garage.
Well, that sucks. I want to watch more building, haha.
Oh man. Sorry, not today. Been at this for what, maybe 5 hours now? 6 hours? Been a bit of time. Well, now that you have a phone, you can check in every time I'm working again. Good enough for the day.
long road back into the site.
Hey, Zetzel, nice meeting you. Hopefully, I see you around here again sometime.
He may even just try and punish them as they exit the site, save the kit, save the armor, and let that $1,900 flow in the next round. It's going to be exactly that. Liquid. They're going to take again the first and opening round.
Charge stuff up.
Vexalim, see you next time.
For sure.
Very successful from Liquid in the end. The entry kills in that B-bomb site was absolutely brilliant, considering they lost the first 2 frags as well. Nico got 2 to kick things off, but Liquid replied very quickly indeed. We go into round 2 here. There will be the force buy from FaZe. Deagle sees death and the Carrigan scouts.
Okay, closing up. Have a good night.